I had the fortunality of actually meeting I Show Speed and talked about some of the shtick I do. And then instead of, buying the next iPhone, he could probably buy a couple of shares of Apple and that maybe, he could invest in his future.
We have a special guest with us opening the show. Introduce yourself for the stream.
Hi, my name is Peter Tuchman. I'm known as the Einstein of Wall Street.
Einstein of Wall Street. And
how do you
I'm not that smart. I just look.
Why do you? Who was the first person? Did you give yourself?
Erin Burnett gave me that, and
There you go.
I've had a show on her show now on CNN for the last 4 months, ever since the beginning of the sort of mini crash that was sort of self-induced by the new leader,
Yes.
the new sheriff in town.
Terrorist tantrum.
Correct. She called me in. So she used to work on the floor with CNBC.
Sure.
And she nicknamed it probably 20 years ago and called me Einstein, and that sort of picked up.
But your latest collaborator is not on TV, but on streaming, correct?
Correct. So I had the fortunality of actually meeting I Show Speed.
Oh, yes.
Right? Young 20-year-old kid who I got invited. So there's a team that's doing his stream thing. There's a young guy named Adam Faze.
We know Adam.
He
He came to our event. We were here about a month and a half ago. He came to a
Really?
party.
So Adam's something special.
Yeah.
He found me about 4 years ago and asked me if I would let him shoot me every day walking out of the stock exchange for 30 days and just do what I do.
Sure.
And we did this whole TikTok thing called Einstein Elementary, went viral.
Yep.
Like me and like marching bands from Brooklyn and walking around with a 50-pound Hershey's Kiss and doing all this crazy stuff. So he called me last week, asked if I could bring Speed to the floor, and it didn't seem appropriate at the time. And he said, well, how can I get you to meet him? And I said, come up with an idea. And he's an idea guy. So he called me on Thursday morning. He said,
give
we're
it up
going to
for
be at the
idea
Bowl.
guys.
Yeah.
Guys.
He's going to be at the Bowl. Would you come and welcome him to Wall Street? I
Yeah.
said, absolutely. So they gave me a police escort. I went down there and met this young guy and talked about some of the shtick I do, investing in stocks and not stuff, and about, the fact that, that everything that his life is based on is actually a publicly traded company. Sure. And that instead of, buying the next iPhone, he could probably buy a couple of shares of Apple, and that maybe, he could invest in his future besides the amazing future it's got set up.
How did he receive it?
He received it totally. He talked about it a couple days down the road, so I got the message across, and I've blown up. I've got literally
just the numbers.
200. So I came in at 260,000 followers on Thursday, and now I have 419 and counting. And I've got 40 million views on some of my posts, 7,000 DMs.
7,000 DMs.
Okay,
I
good
actually
luck
just did a
sorting through
video
those.
to answer that. Anyway.
What was the first stock you ever bought?
You know what? I did not ever buy a share of stock until recently. I went through most of my career because I'm a registered trader, broker on the floor.
Oh, sure.
And I'm not allowed to be in a stock for a customer and for myself in a 30-day period.
Yep.
And so I built a trading strategy 20 years ago, trading the S&P 500 based on information that I have as a broker on the floor. And I trade all 347 names in the S&P every day. So basically, I made a decision years ago, and also money does a funny thing. If I'm in a stock for myself and I get an order for a customer, it's going to impact the way I trade.
Sure.
And I didn't want that to ever be the case. So I do well enough here as a commission broker that I said, you know what, I'll invest in my kids. I'll put them through college. And they both graduated without any debt. And that's where my money went.
Fantastic. What about some of the first stocks that you were brokering?
First stocks that I broker, so we're talking about IPOs, right? And so, I probably have traded more IPOs than anybody on earth. I've been in the crowd on all of them. I mean, the first IPO I think I traded was LinkedIn, right? It was priced at 30, it opened at 60, ran up to 180 same day. And that was where I got the sense of how amazing the enthusiasm around an IPO, because it's based on confidence.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Nobody knows it. And so I've had so many fun experiences in IPOs. Jack Ma, Alibaba IPO, which was one of the biggest that we've ever had here. Yeah. He and I bonded. So the IPOs here take probably 4 or 5 hours. We just opened Klarna, right?
Yeah.
And the process behind that, which we do better than anyone in the world, is the price discovery process. That what goes on. It's kind of like building a building. Mm-hmm. The way you open a stock, the way we open a stock, takes time because it's a matter of the information going back and forth. It's a public offering. So the public has to understand what's going on. And so we go back and forth with our customer. It's kind of like if you put the bricks and the mortar in the right place, and the way a stock opens, if it's built correctly, is going to purport the way it trades forever.
Sure.
Now, it doesn't guarantee it's going up, but it will have structure and foundation. And you go to NASDAQ, nothing against NASDAQ, but if you go to NASDAQ, it's fully electronic. So it opens when the buyers and sellers meet in an electronic marketplace. Here it's different. So then you're going to see what you see in NASDAQ.
handmade.
It'll go up, it goes down. There are no guardrails, right?
Sure.
So here things are a lot different. So Jack Ma and I spent 4 hours together in the IPO. He and I are very short, so we bonded on the fact that we were the shortest
the
people
same
in the
level.
crowd.
We're on the
We were
same
on the
level.
same level, not financially, because he became a very
Basically.
wealthy guy again on that day.
Someone on
And-
our team actually was here for
at
the
that
Alibaba
IPO?
as well.
Amazing time. And then we've had, look, then, the whole landscape has changed when WeWork completely blew up the whole IPO market. And that affected.
Tell us that story, because
Well-
I remember the S1 going out, but then did they get out? What happened?
Well, what ended up happening, look, as I said, it's built on confidence. And
Yeah.
when, everybody, there was huge money put into WeWork. He was lauded by, now he came down to the floor many times. And it wasn't until the night before, everyone needs to know this, that on the end of the roadshow is when all the financials are given out
Yep.
to the public.
Yep.
And it turned out that it was all smoke and mirrors, and he had spent all the money on prostitutes and blow, and that the company had no basis behind it. And so it was aborted. The deal was
that's right.
aborted, and what that did was it changed, amazingly enough, that one stock could change the landscape of IPOs for years. It literally, everyone
So when people
said,
say the IPO window's closed, that's what closed.
that's what closed
And I
it. It
remember
was the
Jim
fact
Cramer
that
on Mad Money was saying, "We don't want this. We don't want this."
exactly.
I remember that quote.
And so to think that something about what's going on and we didn't know anything
Yep.
on literally until the night before made such a huge impact on the market. It literally has taken a couple of years to grow out of that. Before that, we had some really wonderful, robust years. Remax and a bunch of stocks. They would open the huge premiums. We were trading
Give
10
us a quick history
IPOs a
give us
day.
a quick history on Klarna, right? Because Klarna's tried to get out a couple times. and
Okay,
finally
so I
got-
don't know the history
Yeah.
about Klarna. All I
Yeah.
know is that I watched how it opened here. So it
Yeah.
did take a little while. It did open at 52, I think,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? And so it's not trading. You know what? It's hard to know. So what's important about it is where the bids are, where the offers are, and how the foundation looks. So where the bodies are buried within a stock
Yeah.
when it opens, right? There was enough stock at 52 bid on balance, which is what it's called. So stocks pair off that are priced accordingly. So 4 point something million shares open. That means that they were market orders. They had no limits to them, and they paired themselves off. It was a 52 bid for 300,000 on balance, meant that there was a stabilizing bid, whether it was by the Goldman Sachs, the company, or the banker or not. But that's what made it open at 52.
Sure.
If there had been more to buy at the market, it would have opened higher, or more to sell, it would have opened lower. It opened at 52. It did trade up to 57.20 on a small bit. 70,000 shares traded up, and then it came in. It's trading at a couple dollars lower, which is reasonable. It does not have the power and the impact that Figma and Bullish did.
Is this
Figma and Bullish.
But all three of these are relatively, like, is there a specific strategy that these IPOs have had in terms of like pricing at what feels like very reasonable, like,
So you know what they're pricing it based on the reaction to what the investment community is
Supply and
willing to
demand.
give.
Yeah.
It is. So some of the other ones got priced at 30. There was over demand at 30. They upped it to 32, 35. That's how
Yeah.
it will go. So the last night when they go out to the roadshow to give out allocations, they will get a sense of where that valuation should be, and then that's where they will give it up. They left some money on the table, as did those other IPOs. The other ones opened at 90 and went to 117. That was bullish, and
Yeah.
Figma also traded at a huge premium. My gut is that the sectors that they were in, there's a lot of pressure on this sector right now, and
Totally.
and so those sectors were more iCloud and AI based, right? And so I think that's why there was a little more pop to it.
Well, we know you have to get out of here. Thank you so much for stopping
I'm so
by the
glad.
show. We'd love to have you
Let's
back
meet you.
sometime.
Anytime, I'm always
Call
We
in.
can talk for another 2
to the
hours.
moon. Let's go.
So-